Hello, welcome back to the Caring Conversation studio, live from the Care Show in London. We have our next guest in the studio. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm not so bad, not so bad. The weather's shining brightly and the place is packed out, so really excited.
It is nice when the weather comes out, isn't it? And it gets a bit sunny, you know. Down south it tends to do that. I'm not sure about up north.
No, up north we might have a bit of sunshine today, but it's not like that out there.
Right, well, tell us about, you've launched something new recently. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you're up to at the moment then?
Yeah, so people would probably mostly know me for educational training in classrooms or virtual. So it was a time to step into the tech world of things and try and revolutionise something that's been around for a long time but never been done properly. So I built a product called Confident Competence, which is a product system where 99% of people would use an app. And from that, they're able to have access to hundreds of different competency assessments to complete on the staff through the app in real time. And the idea behind it is, one, meet the regulatory requirements of the inspectorate, but two, actually start to look at it saving money in these times on sending people on needless training year after year after year when they already know the alphabet. So the competency side of things is just tell me the alphabet and we can move on. So I'm probably shooting myself in the foot a little bit in terms of a national training company, but it's progression.
No, but I think you've always talked about that though, haven't you? About the fact that people do these courses over and over and over, and they're there and they're not listening because they've done it. They did it last year, they did it the year before, and they're doing it to tick a box. And that actually they are very experienced in this area, and they don't need this silly little course that, you know, the educator doesn't want to deliver because the person's not listening, you know, and vice versa. So I think it's a sensible move forward because ultimately you want to deliver training that's valuable and interesting for people, right?
Absolutely, and with competence or competency, it's not about removing education. Education has to be put in the first place or the first instance into place. But what we shouldn't be doing is going back and revisiting the exact same educational route, which is what's happened over the years from a compliance perspective because it appeases the regulator. So it was much easier to turn around and say, just make them do the same e-learning course every year, or make them attend the same classroom training course. Now, in our education system throughout life, you would never find yourself stuck on the exact same content year after year.
Yeah,
Primary education, you go to year 2, you go to year 3, then high school, college, university. But in health and social care, it's kind of, no, do the same basic level and keep doing it. So I'm much more a case of, if you know it, prove it, show me it working on the floor, which has always been an action you're supposed to take. But ultimately, let's use that to disrupt the cycle and say, okay, well, if that saves us money here, where can we develop the progression side, which as business owners, ultimately, that's what we're after from our teams. You know, I don't want to start someone 5 years ago and find 5 years later I've got the exact same person that walks through the door. I'm expecting you've had 5 years of experience, of knowledge, of lessons learned. Let's actually get the mandatories and the statutories done through competency assessment, see the support area that you really need, create a training pathway for you as an individual, and get on with the job. So, yes, I'm probably turning round to everybody and saying, let's stop doing repetitive stuff that we already know. Let's test it out to make sure that it does work, and then let's move on.
Because I suppose from the perspective of, you know, if I'm an employee and I work 260 days a year, I might spend 5 to 8 of those days training, you know, learning things within that working time. If I'm spending those 5 to 8 days doing the same thing over and over again, like, we're not developing them, right? So actually, for example, your manager is one of the key roles in the home. You know, should you be doing things like helping them with their leadership, helping them with other things, not those the basic skills that they should already have?
100%. I'm spending a lot of time doing this at the moment with managers across the country. So you've got managers who are very good operationally, and all the training they've ever had or the experience and knowledge has been from an operational level. Well, we've now moved into an era where we're asking them to look at their budgets very specifically and look at the return on investment they're actually getting out of that. And in some cases, turning around and saying, if it's not got a return investment, it needs to go because of the economic times that we're in. Well, most managers ain't equipped to do that. It's a skill level in itself. So if I really want a top-tier manager now, I need them to have a bit of everything. I need them to be a CEO of their own business, their own centre, because some of these care services are employing up to 150 to 200 people. Well, that's the same as a Walker's factory that makes a crisps.
These are, £1-2 million businesses, right, that they're running, and often these people have no real commercial incentive or knowledge about how customer in, those things are about the basic functions of running a business, right?
Absolutely, and the system that I built, I've been speaking a lot this morning about it. If you integrate it into the heart of your business, there's so many actions that can be taken out of competence. Because if we look at it from, can we actually avoid needless training? The answer is yes. How do we do it? The system. And just to put it out there, it doesn't have to be a system. It can be any competence. If you're writing your own, good, use it, and make it that you're using it consistently, but reduce down that needless training. If you're looking at it from, let's say, for instance, both of us go for the same job, and we're both decided we're going to be care workers. I don't want to sound disrespectful to you, York, but I've got 30 years experience. Have you ever worked in a care home?
I have not, no.
But say we both get the same job. In our industry, they would put us both on the exact same training now as part of our induction. Exactly the same. Now, name another industry where they would take someone with 30 years experience and give them the same level of training as someone that's never done it. It wouldn't happen. So you should be competency assessing people when they come in based on their experience, based from their interview, their CV. Get out there on the floor, get working with them, and figure out what support they actually need to enable them to do the job you're requiring them to do. And that would allow you to fast track people through a system. So there's that. There's also, from a HR perspective, because we've got a library of competencies, if we find there's an area that's problematic to you and we want to see where it is, pick the competency and do it on the individual, and then have an action plan out the back of that. So when you're looking at it from integrating it into the heart of the business, actually what we're always looking for is confident and competent people. How do we do that? You have to check. That's the basis. Yeah. And if it's not working, do something. Instead of saying, we'll put them all back on the same training course that didn't work in the first place.
So if we're thinking about, say, either a carer or a manager, what's hot now? What should they be doing? What courses should they? Your managers in your home. What was the latest course you put them on, or the latest bit of training you got them to do that feels really valuable for a manager?
This is going to play right into your field, marketing.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a lot of requests to go and deliver training to managers on sales and marketing. If I went back 5 years ago, it was all recruitment. There was recruitment and retention. Yeah. Now it's sales and marketing, because a lot of these businesses have voids. A lot of the private paying clients that they're trying to attract, they don't understand the market and how to actually attract those people to their service. Because everybody's been very much reliant, I would say 80% of the industry has been very much reliant on local authority funded clientele. The problem is local authority funded clientele aren't paying enough now in order to meet the requirements of the business. So you're getting a lot of CEOs, investors, owners turning around and saying, we need to increase a percentage rate of private paying clients. And you've got people that have never done a sales and marketing course in their life. So ultimately, it's a different form of networking. It's a different form of advertisement. It's a different form of attraction. I'm not saying that no one didn't have a choice, but certainly the private paying person has a huge choice. Yeah. And everybody's trying to attract them. So you've got to actually be able to go to the fishing pond with a bigger rod and a bigger piece of bait in order to get them. And a lot of companies now are actually realizing this, because they're turning around to managers and saying, you've got to change this percentage. But if you don't give them the tools and the knowledge and the know-how how to do it, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. I think it's really important, isn't it, for the sector? And I don't think sales and marketing has to be a scary area. I think actually there's enough demand.
It can be fun
in the system. Yeah, it can be fun. Actually, what you're doing on a very basic level is helping someone who's in distress. And if you genuinely think your home can offer them the best care for their parent, you should be in there. You should be having that conversation, And maybe as the manager, that might not be you. There might be someone else in your team that could be that best person to hold that person's hand and walk them through the home. But you need to identify
Absolutely.
that.
It's actually teaching them how to put together a marketing strategy.
Yeah,
is the key thing, and then work towards the strategy. And because they've never done it before, they've had no need. Well, now they have a desperate need, and it's not too late. And ultimately, it's reminding them that actually they're the expert at what they do. So be the expert, be known as the expert. We don't need you to change. We just need you to be in a situation where people can see you and hear you and want to come to you. That's what, explain to people that marketing is the shop window. Sales is a different kettle of fish, but marketing is lead generation. Be the lead.
I talk about the digital shop front quite a bit. The idea that, if the outside of the front of your shop is scabby and the paint's peeling off, it's not going to help you attract customers. So having your online presence look neat and tight, and it doesn't have to be. You don't have to spend loads and loads of money. You just have to make sure it's up to date. The photos look nice. These things just, and it works for people. So it's really, it's not rocket science. I don't think.
It's a bit like websites are probably my biggest bugbear. I've spent hundreds of thousands of pounds, if not more, on websites over the years for the different businesses. What you've got to work out is, are they actually doing what they're designed to do? And that's an attraction. I don't want somebody to go, I'm not Amazon. You aren't going onto my website and buying, right? You're going onto my website and looking and then making a decision for a call to action. So is my website going to give you the information to make that call to action? Is it going to be very clear? Are the pictures relevant? Are they taken on a nice sunny day? It's the amount of websites that I look at and care, and I go, this is shocking. If I clicked onto this, there's no way mum and dad's coming here, yet they're trying to charge fees of £1,600 plus a week. It's not going to happen. But also, don't complicate them. And you go to a web developer, and before you know it, you've got 16 pages, 10 click-throughs to get any information you would need. I want that information to be, we're the experts, come and talk to us.
Yeah, it's about building trust, keep it simple, and then pick up the phone and be nice when they ring.
That second part, absolutely.
Because without you can drive as many leads into your business as you want, but if you're not got the capacity to respond or the patience, because people will need to come and look around, and you need to build time in for that, and help the team understand what the value is of these people coming in. So it's really interesting area. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, Paul, for coming along. It's
always
been
a pleasure.
Nice to talk to you as ever, and we will be back shortly with another interview.